guys, it's Jason, and welcome to a completely different video, where today, in this video, we are not playing games, we are reviewing them. And the first games that we are going to review is Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, as well as the DLC, FNAF Security Breach Ruin. And what you'll expect to see in this video is me talking about my experience, the positives and the negatives, my predictions on what's next for those games, and so on, so on. So, let's start off with the positives, shall we? So, anyway, with the positives, I overall enjoyed Security Breach. Security Breach was a fun game to play. It was completely different than any other FNAF games that I played. From the classics, from when Scott Cawthon developed them back then, from when Steel Wool started developing the FNAF games, from Help Wanted to Security Breach. So Security Breach, I really liked how it was a departure from the main series, where we were traditionally in an office, checking the cameras and stuff, and checking out the animatronics, see where they are. Yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second, but yeah, overall, the game was a major departure. That was pretty essential to the series, and I liked how we had exploration to do, and we had to worry about the animatronics constantly. Like, we had to worry about Monty, Chica, and Roxy. I really liked how Freddy was on our side. It really showed that there's some good in these animatronics, and they're not just out there to kill you. They're really there to be your friend. And I liked how he was on Gregory's side. Gregory, who's the main protagonist in the game, and Freddy was our ally. I liked how we were able to get inside Freddy, even though that's kind of out of context, but that's besides the point. We were able to get inside him to hide from the animatronics. It shows that there is more than one hiding spot in the game. Because the animatronics, they walked around like they're Outlast characters. From where we had to avoid them, we couldn't fight them ourselves. Until later on in the game, where we were able to choose what we want to do. We were able to face off with these animatronics later on in the game. First, we started off with choosing on if we want to decommission Monty or Chica first. If we choose to decommission Chica, then that means we were able to have a weapon, which is going to be like a gun, which is the Phaser Blast. The Phaser Blast is a way to stun the animatronics, but instead you were able to do it more than once. It's like when you have a gun, and you have to check how much ammo you have. Yeah, so we have a couple shots there, and from there we decommission Chica. I find it confusing that they didn't specify where the trash compactor is. I really think that made myself and some other YouTubers frustrated from when we were playing the game, because the game didn't do the best job at telling you where to go. And yet, when you're upgrading Freddy, for example, and when you're trying to find the right word here, when you're walking around and your flashlight is almost out of power, or when you pick up a security badge, the security badge tells you what it is, even though you have like level 1, 2, and 3 there. I find it annoying that the game is very over-tutorialized, because some of these stuff we don't need to know, but from what you need to know, it doesn't tell you. It was really annoying that Security Breach was like that, because otherwise we would struggle to figure out where to go. For example, go to the trash compactor. Where is that? The trash compactor? Some of us have to look things up instead of figuring out where to go, because otherwise our videos would go on for a little longer. So that was a little complaint that I had about the game. The map was too big, but I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked the atmosphere, I liked playing it, and walking around, exploring, finding collectibles. Which brings me to my next point. I wish the collectibles had more of a purpose. Like, could we wear some of this stuff? Like, the upgrades was fine. The upgrades was another thing. And having the golden plushies was another thing, too, because I'll get into that later. So, the collectibles, I wish that stuff that we could wear, something that we could use, and rotate the items in our inventory that we get. But, yeah, I really wish there was more purpose to the collectibles. From now, if we choose to decommission Monty, we have to go through a maze and go through the boss battle. So, the mazer size puzzle, that was the worst part, in my opinion. The worst part, because it was hard to figure out the code. I personally had to look up the code myself. And in my playthrough, I had to cut that part out because it would take me a while to figure out the code and to look it up myself. Well, because the combination was confusing. So fast forward to when we figure out the maze, which leads to the vent to the Monty catwalks. That was great. That was a relief for me. And then the boss battle. The Monty boss battle was probably the most intense battle I've ever done. It was a ton of fun, but it was kind of frustrating at first until I eventually figure out strategy on how to figure it out, which I thought was great for me personally. I'm not sure about the other YouTubers, but that's just my thoughts about that part of the game. So the boss battle was fun, but you really had to think of a strategy of how you can take down Monty and take his claws and go on to upgrade Freddy and all that. That was amazing. And so my tactic that I use is I stayed in one corner. I watch Monty everywhere I go, and when the opportunity is right, I hit the ball into the splash bucket, and I kept going until I filled it up, and then I go push the button. Monty's taken down, and from there, Chica's battle. It was simple. It was pretty easy, in my opinion. It was easy because you just had to avoid her, avoid the security bots, which I'll talk about my thoughts on the security bots in a second, but I just want to talk about the Chica boss battle. So you take your voice box and you're in the sewers. And you have to turn on the generators. So you have to really watch where she is. Turn on the generators and keep going to turn on the other two, and then you escape. Which I don't think it makes sense that Vanny randomly shows up there, which is my complaint about the game. Moondrop shows up randomly. Vanny shows up randomly. I really wish we got to know Vanny a little bit more about how is her and Vanessa connected. I don't know if it's just me not diving more into that, but I really wish I learned more about Vanny. But it's really cool that we got to learn more about the characters and the backstory behind it, especially Glamrock Bonnie, which I'll talk about when we get to Ruin. So, yeah, fast forward to the mission where we had to decommission Roxy. So, for the Roxy mission, you had to really figure out how to do that by going to Roxy Raceway and going to repair the staff bot head to put it on the go-kart. Which brings me to my next point. The West Arcade, where you had to deal with DJ Music Man and everything. In my opinion, it was the worst part of the game as well. And you guys may call me crazy, but did there really need to be too many security bots there? While I get it, it really adds to the challenge, but it was way too chaotic. It was way over the top. I liked the music in the background, but it was way too loud. And DJ Music Man was a cool character and all. And I liked the chase sequence at the end, but it really makes you think that the upgrades have a purpose. I think in my case, I didn't have the upgrades, so that's kind of on me, but oh well. So, yeah, that's how I feel about the West Arcade. The generators were really spread out, and you had Monty and Chica to avoid. But the security bots, there didn't really need to be too many. I think that's why I got frustrated. But the West Arcade part, it's not on my channel because of some technical issues I had when I was doing my playthrough when I first started YouTube. Yeah, that's how I felt. So the West Arcade, worst part of the game, there didn't really need to be too many security bots there because the rage was real. But otherwise, I like the chaos and intensity of that part. So yeah, that's how I felt about Security Breach. Oh wait, I forgot about the daycare section. The daycare section and the endoskeleton section, great parts of the game. Great parts. I loved it. That's all I have to say about it. So, yeah, and then of course you have the ending sequence of that. So yeah, that's my positives about Security Breach. Let's move on to the negatives. I would have enjoyed it even more if it ran better, if it was more optimized. I think the game needed some more time because I think they really rushed it to be out by Christmas because the fans were really demanding for a Security Breach because this was hyped up to be the biggest FNAF game of all time. And a lot of us were excited about it, but there wasn't a point in pushing it to be out early. So I think that's why the game had all these bugs, all these glitches, all these lag, all of these game-breaking bugs. It was not optimized properly. It wasn't polished enough. It wasn't tested enough. It really needed more testing to get all the bugs, all the glitches removed. But I guess they really rushed it, so that's my complaint. So here are my experience with the bugs. The only bug that I've really encountered in Security Breach was when I'll probably show a clip here, but when I was giving the party pass to the party bot to get into Phaser Blast, when the bot disappeared, the elevator did not open. It caused me to restart my game. And there were a couple times off camera where Moondrop pops out, and I'm not sure if this is intentional, but when this happened, and I know this happened to other YouTubers as well, but Moondrop jump scaring you while you're inside Freddy. I don't know if this was intentional, but when you're looking at him for a long time, I guess you weren't supposed to do that, but when you're looking at him, Moondrop goes knock knock, and then you get scared anyway. That was pretty confusing in my part when it happened to me, and I know this happened to other YouTubers as well, so I can't tell if this was intentional. But I know the game is patched. Like, they patched a bunch of the glitches, the bugs, but not all of them, unfortunately. But, oh well, I mean, the game is still fun, but the glitches and the bugs were kind of annoying. But for me, I love the game overall. But I really wish it was optimized well. So, overall, Security Breach, would I recommend the game? Yeah, I would. But if you want to play the game yourself, just keep in mind about the bugs and the glitches that you might encounter. Sometimes you won't, sometimes you will, but it just depends. And it wasn't because of how good my PC is. My PC is good, but the game itself was buggy. And I really wish it was optimized more. So yeah, that's my thoughts about Security Breach. Let me know what you guys thought about the game in the comments down below. So yeah, now on to Ruin. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach Ruin DLC. That game, in my opinion, was a huge upgrade from the Security Breach game, the main game. It was optimized, it was well performed, it proved how good Security Breach would have ran if it was optimized better. I really liked that the characters were the same, but they were in a different state, and the timeline story-wise was really well told from all the endings in the game. And yes, I got all the endings, by the way. So you start out with Cassie coming in, the Pizzaplex calling out for Gregory, and you go on missions to try and save him. I really wish the animatronics were a bit more of a threat, because I don't think the animatronics were too much of a threat here. Like, you had Monty, you had Chica, Roxy, and then the prototype Freddy, and then you had the daycare section of the game. The endoskeletons were a good threat, and then you had Glitch Trap and the AR mask, which tells you that you shouldn't be in the AR mask for too long. But yeah, that's besides the point. And then you had the security nodes. You had all these things you had to keep track of in Ruin. And I liked that you had to go back to some of the areas that you visited before, and you weren't able to access certain areas in the game. So I really think that was a good part of the game. And trying to think of what else I thought about the game. Oh yeah, the endings. The endings. I liked that there's 3 endings. Like, you had the ending where Cassie supposedly dies, and then Roxy saves you. And I really like that Roxy is our friend, and I really picked up on that when she apologized to Cassie for thinking that she had her eyes. But yeah, so and then I liked that there were secrets that you had to do, where you had to go in some of these cameras to unlock a secret door in the cameras. You had to keep going until you reach the end, which is the true ending, which I assume is the canon ending of the game. Where you supposedly kill the Mimic. And I like the Mimic character, which is the plot twist at the end where Gregory was not actually at the Pizzaplex. I kind of sensed that myself because of the Afton ending, where Gregory and Freddy escape, or where Gregory and Vanessa escape, which tells you that the Princess Quest ending, where you free Vanessa, you free Freddy, is the canon ending, where you have to do all the Princess Quest games, which I've done myself on the channel. So that really tells the story there. It really connected, because when Gregory says, "My friend has access to the maps," and you try to help Cassie and all, and I think the Mimic caused the elevator to fall, because you can hear the static in Gregory's voice. So yeah, overall, would I recommend Ruin? Yes, I will. And I would recommend it after you play Security Breach. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say, really. I'll rate Security Breach a 7 out of 10. Because as much as I liked the game, I wished it was optimized better. But the storytelling and the fun of the part of the game was great. Ruin was a good upgrade. So I liked Ruin. I liked Security Breach. That's all I have to say about it, really. So let me know if I missed anything about the games down below, and let me know your thoughts on both games in the comments down below. So yeah, I'm going to do my outro here. Thank you all so much for watching this video of my review on Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach and Security Breach Ruin. If you enjoyed this video and want more videos like this, where it's just me talking and reviewing the games. So thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you won't miss an upload, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.